Hey you, Naked Shred here, and in today's video we are going to be talking about modes. Modes are the topic that a lot of guitar players are afraid to touch, and that is because it sounds complicated. And one of the main reasons why a lot of guitar players don't really focus on modes a whole lot is they think that, oh, if I play the G major scale, I'm technically playing C Lydian. But that's not how modes work. In each mode, there are different chord progressions, different chords, different tonalities for each mode. So modes isn't really a hard thing to understand. It's actually pretty simple. The hardest part is remembering the names, the order, and their structures. But the way that I'm going to be showing you guys today is going to make this process 10 times easier. And so by the end of this video, you're probably going to understand each mode pretty well. Now before I get started on the modes, I just want to go over the basics real quick and talk about intervals and the major scale structure. Knowing your scale structure and your scale formula is very useful because let's say somebody asks you to play, say, A Lydian. All you have to do, look for the note A and remember your Lydian formula, which is and you'll be able to play a Lydian no problem, as long as you remember your intervals and your scale formula. So just remembering the structure and the formula of each mode is going to make your life a whole lot easier in knowing the shapes of each mode. Now let's talk about the structure of the major scale. So I'm going to be using G as my root notes. So on the 3rd fret of low E, there's root. And then a whole step above that is your major second, that's A. And another whole step is your B. A half step is a C, and then D. And then another whole step to E. And then a whole step again for F sharp, and then a half step to end on your octave. So you'll get so you have your whole step, then a whole step, then a half step, the whole step again, one more whole step, and then you end on a half step. And that is your structure of a major scale. Now that is called an Ionian scale. Now just looking at the scale structure, you can figure out how to play the major scale starting from any notes. And then on C, start with the whole step, then a half step, there's a whole step, then a whole step there, and then you end with a half step. Or root, major second, that's the distance from the root to here is a major second, is a major third, perfect fourth. The reason why it is called a perfect fourth is because there's almost no dissonance between these two notes. And then your perfect fifth, and then your major sixth, and then major seventh, and then there's your octave. Now let's talk about the names of all 7 modes. First one that we just did is called Ionian, and that is a natural major scale. And then the next one is Dorian, and that is a minor scale. And then we have Phrygian, another minor. And then Lydian, which is a major scale. Then Mixolydian, which is also a major scale. And then Aeolian, which is a natural minor scale. And then we end with a Locrian, which is a diminished scale. Then after Locrian, it pretty much ends the loop right there, and you just pretty much start the whole process again, and you're resuming on Ionian. I don't particularly like modes a lot. It's a great sentence to use as an acronym to remember your modes in order. Now that we have Ionian out of the way, let's do Dorian. So Dorian, let's say we start on A. So you have your root, your major second, the minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, then the major sixth, and then the minor seventh. And that is your Dorian mode. Now, in G major, using G major Ionian as your say bass scale. To get your Dorian, all you have to do is start on the second note of an Ionian scale, play up an octave, and you get your Dorian mode. You can play it like. If you already know your major scale, you're going to know what the next shape is going to be and what the shape after that is going to be. All you're really doing is reorientating the Ionian scale. So what you're doing is you're moving that first whole step over to the end of the formula, and though you're creating a different set of intervals. So you're starting off with a whole step, and then a half step, and then a whole step, then a whole step again, then a whole step, then a half step, and then a whole step. Alright, and that is your Dorian. Alright, now let's rearrange the Dorian formula and turn it into a Phrygian scale. Same thing as before, we're just going to move that first whole step towards the end of the formula. Then you'll get your intervals of the Phrygian mode. Alright, so the first thing you start out with is a half step. So there's your root, minor second, then a whole step to your minor third, then a perfect fourth, then a perfect fifth, and then a minor sixth, and a minor seventh, and then a minor seventh, and then there's your octave. Now thanks to that tritone right here, it really gives it that exotic sounding mode. So again, all you're really doing is you're moving that first step, the first whole step or half step, over to the end of the formula, and you get your next mode. Alright, now let's do a little bit of an exercise here. Hopefully by now you understand how the scale structure works and how whole steps and half steps looks like on your guitar. So what I want to do right now is show you guys the formula and have you guys try to figure out the formula on your own. So here's a formula for Lydian, and be sure to remember what your answer is so you can compare it and see if you got it correct. So here's what Lydian looks like. So you have your whole step, there's your root and the major second, and then another whole step to the major third, and another whole step to your augmented fourth, which is known as the tritone. Alright, and then half step to perfect fifth, and then a whole step to the major sixth, and then major seventh, there's your octave. G Ionian, there's there's Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and the next one should be Mixolydian. We're going to start on D, so D is the root, and to E, that is a major second, then another whole step for the major third, then there's your perfect fourth, perfect fifth, then the major sixth, minor seventh, and then you have your octave. Then continuing that, and there you have your D Mixolydian. Because in G Ionian, I don't particularly like mode for Mixolydian. Right, so 2, 3, 4, 5. Now a sixth mode is a natural minor scale, and the mode is called Aeolian. So start it off, you have your root, then the major second, then the minor third, then the perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and then the minor sixth, then your minor seventh, then your octave. Then now we're on to our last mode, which is Locrian. We're going to start on G flat, and then minor second, minor third, perfect fourth, diminished fifth, because it is called a diminished fifth because it is a half step down from the perfect fourth, and then a whole step up to the minor sixth, and then the minor seventh. Alright, so you get, and continuing that mode, it'll be like, and then after that, you pretty much start the whole mode over by starting on an Ionian. So, the difference in between each of these modes are the chord progression and the tonality behind those chords. Now let's say, let me put on a looper. Alright, so G note. It has more of a happy upbeat. The Ionian scale has more of an upbeat and happy sounding scale to them. Right? Now let's go over Dorian, see what that sounds like. Now Dorian, you can hear that minor in it with the minor third. Kind of gives off a little bit of a, not fully minor, but it kind of feels less happy than the Ionian scale. And then Phrygian has a little bit more of a exotic sound to it because of the minor second. So it goes like, and after Phrygian we have Lydian. Now Lydian is just basically the major scale, but with a augmented fourth. And then Mixolydian. And then we have Aeolian. Now Locrian is more unstable, there's not a lot of good notes to be able to play with in Locrian. And then after Locrian you're back at Ionian. And so yeah, next week I'll talk about what chord progressions work with each mode and how to create your own chord progressions out of whatever modes you would like to play over. So I hope this video helps you guys out in understanding all 7 diatonic modes in the major scale. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video right there. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next video.